All right, folks, greetings and welcome. The What's Right Show is on, brought to you by Sam and Ash Injury Law, the only law firm to trust for your injury case. 800-304-2000, 1-800-304-2000. samandashlaw.com is the website because you deserve what's right. Now, I'm fired up and apologize for the little technical difficulties we're having here. Live radio and all. I'm fired up because this tax bill, and that's what it is. It is a tax bill. It's couched as a tax giveaway in the state of Nevada. And I know it's some inside baseball for those of you listening out of state, but just bear with me. It's important and a cautionary tale for all of us, regardless of where we live. For me, it's personal because I live here. And I moved here from California, and I came to Nevada from California because California was a state that would not stop taxing me and my family, me and my businesses, and providing less and less value for me as a tax-paying citizen. It came to a breaking point. Every year, I'd write this giant check to the state of California, and I'd look around me, and the things that I really loved in the state were all free. The weather was free, or ought to be. The ocean was there, right? The Democrats didn't create that. The politicians didn't make the ocean. They didn't make the weather. But the roads sucked. Schools were deteriorating rapidly. You'd try to go anywhere, gridlock, right? Not just the roads themselves, cars everywhere, crime rising. So my family and I, we decided we're going to move to Nevada. We're very happy here, calling myself, of course, Nevada's favorite recovering Californian because, well, here we are. Now, all of this said, now I'm here. And I have to, I'm looking at this Hollywood tax credit bill giveaway that is hanging. It's in the no right now as of a few minutes ago. It's a no, but I mean, it's one vote. If they get one more vote, it's a yes. This will cost our state $1.5 billion. Now in California, that's chump change. Here in Nevada, that's real money. And they'll have to find a way to pay for it. And just as they're getting this thing through, the liberals, helped by some Republicans, two in particular, are talking about how they're going to, well, it's fine. We'll go to the voters and we'll get a tax increase. We'll get an income tax, something we don't even have right now. And I'm hearing from a lot of you, and I'm getting your emails. By the way, you can email me, sam@whatsrightshow.com. You can email me. I've gotten all your emails telling me, yes, it has to go to the voters. Voters aren't going to approve it. That's nonsense. With all due respect, and I appreciate the emails, this is nonsensical. Because what will happen here, mark my words, is the state will run out of money. Services will be impacted. We're going to have a big crisis, and they're going to go to us, the voters, and they're going to sell us on a tax. And they're going to say it's just the rich. Top 1%, 5% earners. And, people going to go to the polls, regular people going to go to the polls and say, well, it doesn't affect me, and this is a way that we can solve this problem, and so let's do it. And they'll open the door to an income tax that gradually, and maybe not even that gradually, will begin to include more and more people before it consumes more or less every taxpayer in the state. So that's how it's going to happen. And they're already talking about it. Now, if they came palms up to us and said, hey, Nevadans, we've got this big tax giveaway. We're going to do this. And by the way, don't worry, but maybe, just maybe you guys are going to end up with an income tax to pay for it. There'd be a full-scale revolt. That's why they're keeping it on the QT, on the hush-hush, on the DL. But we're not going to let them do that. So that's the long and the short of it. We will not let them get away with it. And here's another aspect of this. The amount of favor horse trading going on in Carson City is unbelievable. And one thing I'll tell you this, for example, if you're in California, a lot of this is very removed. What goes on in Sacramento, you guys have a full-time legislature in California. A lot of states do. Ours is part-time, and they're only in session once every 2 years. There's a session, you go through it, and the only time that you meet like they do now outside of that is if there's an emergency. Now, the people that represent us have jobs in the community, live in the community. They're not full-time politicians. So these state senators have jobs. They have things that, work among us in, and by the way, one of the two state senators who is a Republican, who's a yes right now on this bill, is right here in Las Vegas, and that's John Steinbeck. Lisa Krasner is the other one who is up in northern Nevada. I don't even at this bill. I have no idea why she would vote for this bill, given that it doesn't really provide any benefit for her district at all. And it makes me think, and again, I'm not saying this is what is happening with these two, but I have heard generally and specifically about certain people, enormous amount of promises being made. Donations to a charity of their choice. One guy was offered an airport, $100 million toward an airport in his district. Who knows what these two are being offered? But I promise you, and I just fired this tweet off before I went on air, at What's Right Sam is my Twitter X handle. I promise you with every bone in my body, if this bill passes, I will call every contact I have in this administration, and I will have the feds crawling all over this deal from top to bottom. Because if there is the least bit of inclination that there is any kind of fraud, any laws violated, this is going to become a matter of federal investigation. I'm telling you that flat out. This is unbelievable. And you hear certainly about graft and the like and this kind of, well, they call it horse trading politics, and some of it is allowed. So we'll look into it, is my point. So I hope you have your lawyer on speed dial and you're running everything you're doing by him. That's my message to the yes senators on this deal. Just be careful. Now, here's where it gets kind of a general thing. How frustrated are you that you go, you vote, you maybe even give some money to the Republican candidate? The Republican candidate goes to either Washington or goes to your state capital and then immediately proceeds to turn into a Democrat. This is a problem. I do not hear, with the exception of maybe Fetterman, maybe on a national level, Joe Manchin. There's certain Democrats have become more conservative over time, or maybe perhaps the party left them in Manchin's case. But you do not hear as often of Democrats just turning, next day into Republicans. This is something that we Republicans do. We go, we get elected, we run as conservatives, we put red all over us, MAGA, whatever it is. And then you end up in office and you just give up. This is unbelievably frustrating, folks. And it needs to stop. Well, one of the solutions, we obviously need to get more involved, all of us, in the primaries. And again, to the extent that we cover national topics, and of course today, I know we got this. We got a lot going on in Washington. We'll get to all of it, and things are popping, and we got 2 hours together, so plenty of time to sort all this stuff out. But I think, this is a problem. We have to get engaged in the primaries. We're just going to let those races go by. All right, folks, we're going to take a quick break here. Be right back. Sam Mirejovsky here on the What's Right Media Network.
I'm the best.
Personal injury law has been the same for a long time.
The best.
Big egos,
greed, and sleazy schemes. We've had enough. Welcome to Sam and Ash, the new standard for personal injury law, where things are done the right way, because you deserve a team that delivers real support and results. When you have both, your whole world can change. Sam and Ash Injury Law, because you deserve what's right.
Okay, folks, I'm going to just right off the bat here apologize to my mom in advance for the next hour, or maybe even later this hour. We're going to have to get to the Epstein stuff. My mom was listening to the show the other day, and she said, Sam, a great show. I'm just sick and tired of hearing the name Epstein. I got you, Mom. I hear you. It's not my doing. I react to the news. That's what I deal with. So, of course, big vote in Congress. One person and one person only. Congress voted no. 400 plus others voted yes. So anyway, Sam Mirejovsky here behind the What's Right microphone. Lots to cover today. Just absolutely furious over some Nevada stuff. The crime bill. The crime bill's probably going to pass, but it's pretty watered down from where it was initially. And now we've got this tax bill. This tax giveaway. Let me tell you one other thing about this. Let me just say, when they give tax credits, a lot of people think, well, yeah, if they come here, build it, make money, they're just going to pay less money in taxes. Sam, how are we losing money? Because that's not how these tax credits work. They're actual tax coupons that are worth, that have cash value with the state of Nevada that can be transferred to anyone. So what these entities will do, and it's happened in other states, and this is the film tax. So let's say some studio, I don't know, Sony, making up a name. Sony decides they're going to come and build a studio in Summerlin, Las Vegas. They could take this tax credit in the form of, let's say, $50 million and apply for it, right? Get it. And they could sell some portion of this tax credit, or transfer it, sell it to a third party for cash and use that cash to either build something here in the state or not. But it's actual lost revenue for the state of Nevada. It is, if the state of Nevada that year was expecting to collect, I don't know, rounding numbers, right? $500 million in tax revenue from a handful of sources, and those handful of sources come forward and go, well, I've got a tax credit here for 50, and I've got one for 20, and I've got one for 70. All of a sudden, that number shrinks. And that's real money that's not in the budget. I think of this as a corporate, highfalutin version of what we heard during the shutdown about SNAP benefits and other welfare coupons. People were merchanting in them, trafficking in them. They were going and selling them, getting cash and using that cash to buy things that the SNAP coupons couldn't buy. So there's this whole black market in these SNAP benefits. But here in this case, the sale of these tax credits is 100% legal, is not disallowed in the bill, in the legislation. And I think that's one of the reasons why you have senators even in northern Nevada who have no tangential benefit whatsoever from building film studios in Las Vegas are so excited about this, because they have constituency groups and big donors who are greedily getting excited to get their hands on some free money. It's a giveaway of our money. It's so wild. And people I'm amazed. Even their leftists are opposed to it. The hardcore left in Nevada is opposed to it. And every sane conservative that I've spoken to is 1,000% opposed to this. So just really important stuff. All right. Where are we? We're at the bottom of the hour. I'll get to the Epstein. Let's get the Epstein thing out of the way. But it is fascinating, folks, what's going on. It is absolutely fascinating. Because I have this sense that none of this is going to go exactly how the Democrats want. And it'll be interesting also to see if we're still talking about this 30 days from now. Well, that's always the test. They keep, if you'll notice this, the Democrats have become very good about turning up the noise in 35, 45-day cycles, right? We had the shutdown. That was the talk of a month and a half. Now we went right into the Epstein files. We just these manufactured crises. And the reason the Epstein thing is manufactured is because all of this was all known for years. For years. So what we're going to do when we come back is I'll give you the logic test. It's a very simple logic test, and we'll get into everything that happened today in D.C. And we'll of course, and we'll see where Massey lands on this, right? One of the Republicans leading the effort to get these files released. All right, folks, Sam Mirejovsky here behind the What's Right microphone. The What's Right Show brought to you by Sam and Ash Injury Law. 1-800-304-2000, because you deserve what's right. Rarely wrong, always right. Sam Mirejovsky here behind the What's Right microphone. Sam at what'srightshow.com is my email. At What's Right Sam on X, formerly known as Twitter. Okay. All right, big vote today. Hours ago in Washington, D.C., the House of Representatives overwhelmingly voted to release the Epstein files. Okay. Here is why I think it's going to be a far bigger problem for Republicans generally, for Democrats generally, than Republicans, and why it's not going to be a big deal for Trump. It's very simple. I think that what's in these files has been known to members of Congress for some time, Republicans and Democrats. If there was a kill shot in here on Trump, even if it implicated powerful Democrats, the Democratic Party would have done this ages ago. When the Democrats controlled the White House via the auto pen, under Joe Biden, when they controlled the House and the Senate, the Democrats could have easily released all this and ended, if it was as bad as they claim now, and ended Donald Trump with it. The problem is that the truth here is much more inconvenient to their narrative. From everything that I've seen, Trump has had a history of very early on smelling a rat with Epstein. And to the extent that people in those circles were aware that he was a dirty bird and that he was dating younger women, although it wasn't always clear how young, Trump distanced himself from Epstein far sooner than a majority of people in that social circle. Okay? And it's interesting because if you go back, and it's a great clip here we got loaded today. It's great. Going back to just before the 2016 election, Trump got asked about Epstein in the context of the Clintons, because, of course, Hillary Clinton was clear that she would be running for president. We didn't quite know yet that in 2016 we would see a matchup between Trump and Clinton. So this clip, this was a Bloomberg Politics clip in early 2015. Reporter asks Trump about Epstein because he'd raised it in a Q&A just earlier. This was Trump's already sort of testing the waters here about whether or not he's going to run for president. Listen to this back and forth.
Now he's Teflon, and right now maybe...
You raised the question of Jeffrey Epstein in your remarks about in the Q&A.
Well, I think he's got a problem. I mean,
what do you think the problem will be?
I don't know, but that island was really a cesspool. There's no question about it. Just ask Prince Andrew. He'll tell you about it. The island was an absolute cesspool. So,
The Clintons are friends
and he's
of
been
yours,
there
right?
for many
The
times.
Clintons are friends
Well,
of
I
yours.
can't say friends, but I know
You're
them.
friendly. You know them.
They play at my clubs a lot. I have clubs, and everybody likes to play
Are
at
you
my
saying
clubs.
there's a political problem for her if she runs for president?
It could be a political problem. Look, he could be a political problem. Right now, he's Teflon, and right now, maybe not. But he could end up being a political problem.
Well, there you go. So, I mean, again, Trump is raising the question of Epstein all the way back in 2015. Nobody was talking about it back then. And you know what's even better? You go back a couple of years. When the Epstein thing began blowing up, there was a reporter for ABC, is a reporter, Amy Robach, who says that ABC, her network, buried the Epstein story just so they could, interview Princess Kate and Prince William. Literally, that's what she says. Listen to this.
I've had the story for 3 years. I've had this interview with Virginia Roberts. We would not put it on the air. First of all, I was told, who's Jeffrey Epstein? No one knows who that is. This is a stupid story. Then the palace found out that we had her whole allegations about Prince Andrew and threatened us a million different ways. We were so afraid we wouldn't be able to interview Kate and Will that also quashed the story. And then Alan Dershowitz was also implicated in it because of the planes. She told me everything. She had pictures. She had everything. She was in hiding for 12 years. We convinced her to come out. We convinced her to talk to us. It was unbelievable what we had. Clinton. We had everything. I tried for 3 years to get it on, to no avail, and now it's all coming out, and it's like these new revelations, and I freaking had all of it. I'm so pissed right now. Like, every day I get more and more pissed because I'm just like, oh my God, what we had was unreal. Other women backing it up. Hey, yep. Brad Edwards, the attorney, 3 years ago, saying there will come a day when we will realize Jeffrey Epstein was the most prolific pedophile this country has ever known. I had it all 3 years ago.
And why is it coming out when it is? Because now it can be used against Trump. But notice something that she's saying from years earlier. Was Trump implicated in this? He was already a big name. She is recorded here saying this in 22 when Trump, of course, is fighting for his political comeback. You would think if Trump figured prominently in any of this, it would be, I don't know, she would be mentioning Trump's name before Alan Dershowitz. Who cares about Alan Dershowitz? Right? I mean, I just am trying to paint a picture because this bill has to go to the Senate. It's going to go to the Senate. President's inclined, already expressed he's going to sign it. So we'll see if the Senate approves it. There's a component of this, of course. There's a component of this that maybe implicates some methods used by either law enforcement or the intelligence community. And this is where the press conference and Mike Johnson got up today and said he was really mad about this. We've got to protect our sources. So who knows what that's all about? But it's but this is just where we're at, and I'm just telling everybody it's such a as far as Trump is concerned, I think it's going to be a giant disappointment. And at this point, getting it all released and putting daylight on it, instead of having these emails leaked out drippity drip, I think is not a bad thing. Cuomo, formerly of CNN, now of News Nation, is skeptical about all this. Here's what he had to say.
The left is saying it's all about the victims. I don't buy it, okay? It wasn't about the victims wanting transparency and you wanting it for them during the Biden administration? Or before that, when only 2 of you ever asked about it? Oh, wait, hold on. The Maxwell investigation was still going on. We couldn't release anything. Who's going to believe that? So no other investigation could go on of other people at the same time that Ghislaine Maxwell was being investigated? Really? Anyone supposed to believe that?
Yeah. Anyone's supposed to? No, it's unbelievable. All of it is absolutely ridiculous. And the plot twist of plot twists is that now Democrats are starting to get themselves caught in the sticky, including, and this is a great development, Stacey Plaskett, who represents the Virgin Islands. She's a non-voting member of Congress, but she would have represented the area where Jeffrey Epstein had his island, right? Little St. James Island would have been in her jurisdiction, right, in her neighborhood. So she and Epstein knew each other, and it came out that she was literally texting with Epstein during a hearing, okay, about Epstein and Cohen. You know, Michael Cohen getting grilled by Senate investigators, you know, the former lawyer of the Trump organization. And the subject of the questioning is literally having live text messages back and forth with the congressman that comes in to question Michael Cohen. Here's the actual exchange where it happens, and you can see on camera that she's furiously typing into her phone.
Attorney-client privilege, yes, I will turn it over.
You, as my friend Mr. Meadows pointed out, misled this committee even today in a written submission that contradicted your testimony. You have suggested you are going to review that. Are you going to review it in our next break to correct the record, yes or no?
Yes.
Question, you helped out the president's campaign or were involved in the campaign as a representative, as a spokesman, even in your words today. It was your idea for the campaign dating back to 2011. Is that accurate, yes or no?
Yes.
Mr. Weisenberg
Here
and
she
other
comes.
individuals, Ms. Rona. Who are those individuals? Are they with the Trump organization?
They
and
are.
Are there other people that we should be meeting with?
So Alan Weisselberg is the chief financial officer.
Uh-huh.
The
You got to
Trump
quickly give us
organization.
as many names as you can so we can get to them.
Yes, ma'am.
As Ms. Rona, what is Ms. Rona's position?
Rona Graff is the Mr. Trump's executive assistant.
Ah, beautiful. Literally, she was getting that via text, the questions to ask from Epstein himself. This is a huge problem. Sam Mirejovsky here behind the What's Right microphone. Folks, what can I tell you? I got to cover this. It's happening. It's being talked about as we speak. The What's Right show will continue in just a moment. I don't know. I'm shaking my head over all this stuff. Democrats rushing in on this Epstein thing, it might end up being one of the dumbest political moves they've ever done. Sam Mirejovsky, the What's Right show, powered by Sam and Ash, is on. Okay. What do I say? Look, Bill Clinton, obviously, you know the story there. Did you know that Katie Couric had dinner at Epstein's house after he was already a convicted sex offender? Reid Hoffman, who is a billionaire Democrat mega donor, been to the Epstein Island, went to dinner with him, had a planned visit to stay at his mansion in New York. Hakeem Jeffries, who is now the top Democrat in the House of Representatives, solicited campaign funds from Epstein in 2013, again, well after all this stuff was known. It's all documented. Shoot us an email or give us a call if you'd like to get involved with the dinner or would like to get an opportunity to know Hakeem better. That was Hakeem's fundraiser. They wrote that to Epstein. And the DNC, the Democratic National Committee, refused to return over $30,000 in donations from Epstein. Yeah, they took his money and didn't want to give it back. So that's where we're at. Larry Summers, who was a former official in the Clinton administration, then went on to be president of Harvard, yesterday said he was stepping back from his public duties, from his commitments. He was still going to teach at Harvard, but he was going to take a low profile for the time being, that he was deeply ashamed of his contacts with Epstein, which of course came out. I mentioned Stacey Plaskett, a Democrat, Virgin Islands. Andy Harris of Maryland told reporters that this was earlier today, that he was going to introduce a resolution to censure Stacey Plaskett, because Plaskett had been texting. Yeah, she's like texting Epstein what Epstein's texting her what to ask during congressional hearings with Michael Cohen. This was back in 2019. See, the real story is that the Democrats were conspiring with Epstein to take down Trump, and vice versa. Trump, who had long been the subject of Epstein's ire. Epstein didn't like Trump, felt that Trump called him out for his behavior, banned him from his club, etc., made him a bit of a pariah in certain social circles. Epstein was vindictive toward Trump and was working with Democrats to take him down. You start to see why people are, why Trump is so upset about this whole thing, keeps calling it a scam. So here, Harry Enton, though, looks at the data. And again, it comes down to poll numbers. This is the problem. Now everybody's talking about it. People want to talk about it. And the poll numbers suggest that even among Trump supporters, people want these files out. Have a listen.
You know, usually Donald Trump has his pulse on the Republican base, but he did not on this issue. Because what are we talking about, Kate Baldwin? Well, GOP on the Epstein files. Approve of Trump. We're used to seeing approval of Trump among Republicans being 85, 90%. But when it came to the Epstein files, look at this. Just 44%, south of 50% of Republicans actually approved on Donald Trump when it came to the Epstein files. Compare that to this. What was the percentage of Republicans that wanted all of the Epstein files released? 67%. So what we were dealing with is simple mathematics. The Republican base was against Donald Trump on the Epstein files. They were with the idea of releasing them. The Republican representatives saw that and therefore were not afraid to go against Donald Trump, because this was the rare instance in which the Republican base was not with Donald Trump. They were actually with the idea of being against Donald Trump and releasing the Epstein files.
Now, I am telling you, I am convinced that to some extent, the files implicate foreign leaders, allies maybe of the United States, who knows, somebody that is of strategic value to the agenda of the Trump administration. This is why Trump U-turned on the release of the files. It's the only explanation I have. Because I don't see, the math doesn't math that Trump is protecting himself. It just doesn't, it doesn't seem like to be the case. But if there is some keystone item of Trump's agenda that might get endangered by the release of these files, you could see why he would be motivated to make the whole thing go away. Now, at the same time, there's people in Congress that want to derail Trump's agenda. And they include some Republicans, like our friend Tom Massey. That's plain and simple, right? They want, and Democrats certainly too. So for Democrats now, they're going to use this to if they know, and presumably some of these people know what's in the files, are going to use this to create havoc for Trump's administration. Now, it could be something as simple as a member of Trump's cabinet. It could be, but I think it's more likely some foreign partner of ours that in some way, shape, or form is implicated or is a player in this, and it will be at the very best unflattering if this all comes out. So that's what this is. And by the way, but see, it's going to get awkward for Democrats, because even Hakeem Jeffries got asked about this. He got asked, well, why should Americans trust you? And the House Democrat, why should they trust you on this when your own people are implicated in this? He got asked that flat out.
Why should Americans trust you and House Democrats on the Jeffrey Epstein files when one of your own, Congresswoman Plaskett, was found to be texting with Jeffrey Epstein during a hearing, getting information from him, using that in her questioning during a congressional hearing. And at one point, he tells her, "Good job."
This is a bipartisan effort to make sure that, consistent with what the survivors have requested, that there's full and complete transparency, and every single predator who may be in those Justice Department files doesn't escape accountability. Thanks.
Yeah, nice. By the way, I saw this whole CNN panel with Abby Phillip, Anna Navarro, and of course Scott Jennings, and they went back and forth on this. And Navarro was willing to say, yes, whoever's implicated in this, they should be thrown to the wolves. And Jennings wouldn't put Trump on the chopping block. And Philip at one point says it's hypocritical of you, Scott, to try to call out the names of only Democrats. You got to apply the logic to everybody. And Jennings was like, wait, what Republican, was Trump actually texting with Epstein in as recently as 2019, influencing congressional testimony? I mean, show me a name of a Republican that's done that. And that is exactly right. So this is just going to get bad for them, I think. And I hope we are able to not sustain any collateral damage to Trump's agenda. All right, healthcare, a big, big thing. And of course, some updates on Nevada. I'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. I know, I saw this too. An interesting story, of course, from Texas about the redistricting. The judges, the 3-judge panel, 2-1 ruling against Texas and their new midterm map. Explain to you what that's all about. Sam Mirejovsky here on the What's Right Media Network. Friends, welcome to the program. My email, sam@whatsrightshow.com. That's where you can reach me, at What's Right Sam on X, formerly known as Twitter. Keeping my eye also on Carson City here as we hold accountable our elected representatives in the state of Nevada who seem to be hell-bent, many of them, on giving away almost $1.8 billion of our money. To whom? Well, the film studios, and by extension to whoever will pay for transferred tax credits that will be given to these entities. A lot of hands are in the jar on this one. And I heard from somebody, and I had a well-placed source, speaking of Nevada, that Nicole Cannizzaro, who was a Senate Majority Leader, and another senator in the state, their respective husbands, both are affiliated with the lobbyists that are pushing the yes vote. Think about how messy that can get. You're a lawmaker, your husband's a lobbyist, or works with a lobbyist, or represents lobbyists. You're a power couple in Nevada. Good for you. By the way, this happens in D.C. all the time, too. And together you join forces to fleece the people. People have told me, be careful. Our state Senate Majority Leader here in Nevada can be a little vindictive. Well, folks, I know things about her that I'm telling you, I'm going to leave it at that. I don't think she wants to take a bite out of me. So here's where we're at, folks. Yeah, this bill is hanging basically by one vote. They don't have the votes. Otherwise, they would gavel in, make the vote, call it a day, and move on. So the pressure that you are putting on is making a difference. And Lisa Krasner and John Steinbeck, the 2 Republican yes votes, need to get a call from you. This is imperative. Well, I'll give you the number. I put this, by the way, I have this up on my X account, again, at What's Right Sam. Please follow me there. I'm posting about this continuously. Krasner is in District 16. Steinbeck is in District 18, which is, I believe, the Northwest here in Las Vegas. Krasner's 16 is up in northern Nevada. Krasner's number is 775-684-1450. The area code and prefix are same for both. So it's 775-684, and then Krasner is 1450, and Steinbeck is 1442. So Steinbeck, 775-684-1442. Hugely important. Now, be respectful. I always want, I want us, our side, the other side are crazy. We are polite. We're respectful. Please call them and tell them how you feel about this. Please vote no on the film tax credit giveaway. This is a giant ticking time bomb for the state of Nevada that will result in a state income tax if this passes. So anyway, yes, I've got this going on. I'm following, keeping one eye on it, and incidentally, I saw this too. These are people that had support. This is what irks me. These are people that had grassroots Republican support, Steinbeck and Krasner. They got money from conservative groups like the Keystone Group. They've been supported, aided, and abetted by free market Republicans. And this is the give back, crony capitalism. Wonder what they're getting promised. I'm not saying they specifically are getting promised, but there are the amount of shady dealings up there is just absolutely wild. And the governor, this is where do I begin? I mean, this is just a disappointment. I know he's not that hot and heavy on this bill. He is certainly, though, encouraging people to vote for it. I'll put it nicely. My sources tell me he could kind of take it or leave it, really. He cares about his crime bill a lot more, so there might be some bit of, tick for tack on this, but I don't know. Lombardo wins. We've got a Republican governor. He turns around, he acts like a Democrat. Again, Republicans do this. Democrats never do this. Republicans do this. They run like conservatives. They wrap themselves up in common sense, and they go to Washington, they go to their state capitals, and they turn into complete leftists. It's maddening. So, folks, and it's a symptom. It's symptomatic, across the country. Absolutely. Absolutely. By the way, you see Trump's meeting with the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, Mohammed bin Salman. Went to the White House. The two are very close. There was a great line where Trump basically something they're sitting there in the Oval Office, as leaders do. Trump is in the chair on the left. If you're looking at it on the right, the guest is always on the other side. And they're getting handsy with each other, kind of broing out. And Trump they say, well, you guys seem to have some camaraderie. You could barely make it out. The media, the member of the press saying something about it. He goes, yeah. I like this guy. I like this guy. And he goes and kind of pats the prince's hand. And he goes, yeah, I'm not going to give him a fist bump. Do you see that? Remember the Biden fist bump? Biden, that was the moment we knew our gas prices were going to go through the roof. Biden reluctantly met with Mohammed bin Salman, flew, they had a meeting, and in the meeting, Biden gives him this little feeble fist bump. Okay, and it was so bad. And it was after he had made all sorts of comments, right? Biden and the Biden administration, all sorts of comments about what a killer Mohammed bin Salman was. Because remember the guy named Khashoggi, the Saudi dissident, who had written some articles. Well, I don't think a full-time journalist for the Wall Street Journal, but he had written some articles in the U.S. and he basically, I think it's indisputed, got chopped up by Saudi security forces and it's all captured. The audio of it was captured on his Apple Watch, so you can hear the drills, and it was not good. Bone saws, that kind of thing. Oh, anyway, so Team Biden decided, you know what we're going to do? At the same moment that we're going to cut domestic oil production, we're also going to poke the eye of the largest oil producer in the world, and also, key member of OPEC. We're just going to poke them in the eye. That's what they did. They poked, and then our gas prices went up. And then Biden went over there and gave him a fist bump, and it was, as one might say, too little, too late. So, so I'm seeing this, and I see all these reactions to this going, how can Trump sit with this guy? Do they have things we need? Do we want peace in the world? Do we want Middle Eastern war? I mean, folks, we got to make some decisions here. The real world is not Fantasyland. You want Fantasyland? Go to Disneyland. But this is reality. You either, you try to be as neighborly as you can with as many countries in the world and save your fire. Save your war, stance with just the worst of the worst. And when it comes to your security and my security, I'm sorry, the Saudis are not the worst of the worst. You get all sorts of absolutists out there. This Trump is doing great diplomacy and keeping us safe and building a network of allies that will, in the long run, make America and the world safer. You want America first? Whatever this is much more America first than anything done under Clinton, under Bush, and under Obama. Mark that as true. Sam Mirejovsky here on the What's Right Media Network.
The Sam and Ash team, they wanted me to have the best care. They had my interests at heart. I have an enormous amount of gratitude. I cannot say enough thank you.
Trump just got asked in the White House if he knew or believed he knew that the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia had taken out Jamal Khashoggi. And here's Trump's quote: "Whether you like him or didn't like him, things happen. But," speaking of the Crown Prince, "he knew nothing about it." Sam Mirejovsky here behind the What's Right microphone. What do you make of this? Now, I can tell you categorically that's an example of Trump lying. Why is he lying? Because you don't invite an ally to the United States and then berate him in your office, especially when you want to build something meaningful with him. Like, I don't know, peace in the Middle East and trade deals and potentially purchasing oil. Now you sit down somebody like, I know I can just hear the critics now, but Sam, what about the Ukrainian president? He came and gets a dressing down. Why can't he be nice to Zelensky? Yeah, but Zelensky's taken the U.S. for a ride to the tune of almost $200 billion. We're allowed to ask for some ROI there. Well, this is... You want to know, speaking of, and I had this up. This is a fascinating story, too. That Khashoggi guy who got bone sawed by the Saudi agents, he was actually the nephew of a guy named Adnan Khashoggi, one of the most prolific arms traffickers of all time. And he was knee-deep in Iran-Contra. Now, guess who Adnan's financial advisor was? Who managed Adnan's money? Again, this is the uncle of Jamal Khashoggi. Well, none other than Jeffrey Epstein. How's that for you? Okay, just a little humor here. Now, look, there's a big story today. They're getting into the they're getting into they're getting into the healthcare stuff. I'm glad they're talking about this. I want to mention it here briefly because it's a big deal. Trump wants to gut Obamacare. It's about time. Brett Hume actually said it great. Brett Hume used to be an anchor on Fox. So he's kind of semi-retired, so he's not as active, but he's a senior political commentator. And a week ago on Fox News, talks about these subsidies, right? Because the entire shutdown happened about the subsidies to Obamacare. Obamacare cannot function as is unless it's being heavily subsidized. It's astonishing. This is what Hume had to say.
If we cannot, as a nation, decide not to continue a subsidy that was imposed or was enacted during a national health emergency and was designed to be temporary, and that all the Democrats voted to have be temporary, if we can't let that expire, what hope do we ever have of getting government spending under control?
You're not. It's never going to get under control. And it is a reminder that the subsidy was always given an expiration date. And it was 3 years out. And even the Democrats didn't agree on extending it indefinitely. The system is broken. And this Obamacare thing has always been Democratic policy. The Democrats have pushed it. They're the ones who've aggressively pushed this. And this is, look, it's like, for example, right? The entire system of exchanges, the quote unquote closed marketplace for health insurance product. This was all designed in Obamacare. And it was, right. This is, I love this defense of it here on CNBC on Monday. Well, not the defense of it, the criticism, the right criticism by a Trump administration official, the National Economics Council director, Kevin Hassett, talking about the medical price increases under Obamacare. This is what he said.
It's just kind of astonishing to me that the cost problem is somehow being blamed on us. Now, think about it, especially with the Obamacare thing. So Obamacare is 100% Democratic policy. It's always been 100% Democratic policy. What they did is they expanded the subsidies during COVID, and then all those subsidies basically went right into the pockets of insurance companies. And Obamacare insurance policies have doubled in price relative to normal policies. And so the fastest inflation in the economy is these big government subsidies thrown at Obamacare insurance. Think about it, it's kind of like if you give lots of student loans, then the tuition goes up. It's that effect. And so now they're blaming President Trump for Obamacare as well. They should have fixed Obamacare in the first place. And President Trump had a plan in the big, beautiful bill to give people some subsidies, but the Democrats didn't like it because the subsidies weren't going to their campaign contributors, the insurance companies.
Aha. Now, this is my criticism of Trump's proposal. Any money that is just dumped back into the economy will make prices go up. That's kind of the dirty truth of this, right? We talked about this yesterday. Why did we see incredible inflation spiking just following the COVID Relief Act? Biden came in and dumped free money into the economy, and every person got thousands of dollars, and all of a sudden people were surprised that pricing shot up. It was an accelerant to a fire already started during the shutdowns. So I want to be very cautious about this. Now, Scarborough, this morning, lays into Hakeem Jeffries. Absolutely laid into him. Here's how the question started. Wow.
Leader Jeffries, though, even with those tax credits, premiums are exploding. And they'll be exploding under Obamacare. They'll be exploding in private health care. I mean, at what point are we going to sit down and figure out a systemic approach that actually is sustainable? Because We're not in it now. And again, even with those tax credits, the Obamacare premiums explode. Even worse, private health care premiums explode. Denials of coverage multiplying. A lot of those denials coming reportedly from AI. This system is failing the American people, and it's only going to get worse. What are we going to do?
Wow, that's not a question. That's a diatribe. And that's not often that I agree with Joe Scarborough. Well, here's the answer. Not very inspiring, by the way.
We have a broken healthcare system, and unfortunately, Republicans have decided to break it even further. Republicans are trying to enact a $1.7 billion cut to the Centers for Disease Control. That will be the largest cut to the CDC in American history, and at the same time, they want to enact a historic cut to the National Institutes of Health. So this has been an all-out assault on the health care of the American people, and the system was already broken because of some of the dynamics that you've referenced. And so, yes, we've said we want to sit down and find a bipartisan path forward to actually address the Republican health care crisis and create a system that enables everyday Americans to be able to go see a doctor when they need one.
All right, it's just a systemic problem, and the Republicans have broken it. Meanwhile, Republicans originally just wanted the free market to do its thing, and Obama and the Democrats felt there was a better way, that they could create a government solution. And in a surprise to no one, the government solution is quickly failing. Sam Mirejovsky here on the What's Right Media Network. Be right back in a moment. No, we haven't started building an ark just yet. Rain coming down, flooding in the streets, just a normal deluge here in Las Vegas. When it rains, it pours. Let me tell you, folks. Sam Mirejovsky here. Welcome back to the program. A quick word about Sam and Ash injury law, particularly on a day like this, on a week like this, where whether you're here, Southern California, got a lot of rain. People do not know how to drive in the rain. That's a fact. And suddenly, bam, somebody hits you. Now, simple accident, right? You think you're going to take care of it on your own. You're hurting, kind of maybe working through the pain. You're busy with life, and all of a sudden the calls start. Just non-stop phone calls all the time. And emails and texts now. They even send texts. It's frustrating. So for the next 3 months, that's all you're going to deal with. That's the truth. Non-stop questions, demands, documents needed, medical records requested from your insurance company, the other side's insurance company, and it's going to be very frustrating. There's another better way of doing this. Hire a law firm that takes care of it for you. And don't just hire any lawyer. Don't hire some billboard guy. It looks crazy. Hire the firm that has great customer service, that can take care of you, that is your concierge practice to take care of all those phone calls, all those letters, knows exactly what documents they need to provide, and protects you from being taken advantage of as well, right? A huge advantage. Sam and Ash Injury Law, your concierge practice. Great people, real people, not AI. Got people like Ian and Oscar and Nicole. You got Audrey here in the office in Las Vegas. We have Rhea in Newport. Great people, human beings, and they're standing by ready to help. 1-800-304-2000. 1-800-304-2000. samandashlaw.com. That's the website, samandashlaw.com, because you deserve what's right. All right, folks. This was an interesting PSA ad put out by Senate Democrats. I don't know what to make of this. The Democrats put out this weird PSA. Are they encouraging a rebellion? Well, it's strange because, of course, Democrats have been lecturing us on the sanctity of democracy and the Constitution. And the last time I checked, the Constitution has the President of the United States overseeing the CIA and other organizations within the federal government. So Senator Slotkin and Kelly and Deluzio, Congressman Deluzio, and a whole bunch of Democrats, listen to this. What are they trying to tell people to do? Interesting.
I'm Senator Alyssa Slotkin.
Senator Mark Kelly.
Representative Chris Deluzio.
Congresswoman Maggie Goodlander.
Representative Chrissy Houlihan.
Congressman Jason Crow. I was a captain in the United States Navy.
Former CIA officer.
Former Navy.
Former paratrooper and Army Ranger.
Former intelligence officer.
Former Air Force.
We want to speak directly to members of the military
and the intelligence community
who take risks each day to keep Americans safe.
To protect and defend this Constitution.
And right now, the threats to our Constitution aren't just coming from abroad,
but from right here at home. Our laws are clear. You can refuse illegal orders.
You can refuse illegal orders.
You must refuse illegal orders.
And know that we have your back.
Because now, more than ever,
the American people need you.
We need you to stand up for our laws,
our Constitution,
and who we are as Americans. Don't give up.
Don't give up.
Don't give up.
Don't give up the ship.
Why does Mark Kelly look like he's from something from, I don't know, The Hobbit or Lord of the Rings? He just, every time he's got, he is the guy, he's the bald astronaut. An astronaut in quotes. Okay, are they suggesting, dare I use the word insurrection? Is that the word they're going for? I don't know. I'm just... disobey orders. Disobey your orders. We're here for you. We're going to protect you. We're going to have your back. This is very, very disturbing. They thought this was a good idea. I don't know. I don't know if it's a good idea. Also, what are they trying to get ahead of? So I always think, why is this happening, and why is this happening now? And I almost sense that there's going to be something big going down where Trump and the Department of Justice, the State Department, may be looking to make some moves, and literally the Democrats are trying to incite a fifth column within our government. Now, we know that these people exist. We know that there are saboteurs everywhere in the federal government that are dyed-in-the-wool Democrats, Trump haters. They don't, they cannot separate their politics from their job. Their job is political when it, by definition, ought not be. And these people are being activated. They're like sleeper cells. And maybe in some cases, right, we found out during Doge, literally sleeper cells, because they would just be asleep at the at work. But no, but they're there, and now the Democrats have sent out the bat signal. You can disobey illegal orders. Okay. What illegal orders has Trump given? Even the federal courts, we talk a lot about Trump getting ruled against in federal court. He's got a win rate of what was it, 83%, 84%? It's not like Trump is operating some rogue deal. So anyway, this is just some food for thought. We have to keep an eye on this in case it blows up. Remember yesterday talking about this rise of anti-Semitism among young conservative, and I'm going to say conservative, quote unquote, because they're apolitical, actually. They're not conservative. They're not Republican. They're just fed up young men. And Dave Portnoy got asked about this. He's a very successful guy, Barstool Sports, lives in Miami. I think he's a New Yorker, or certainly East Coast guy originally, and he's Jewish. Did I say that out loud? And Dave Portnoy, I admire this guy. Not We're very different people, but he's funny and he's smart and he's an entrepreneur. I love it. And Portnoy has been, unfortunately, I'm not going to say the victim. He wouldn't like that term either, but he's been accosted by people recently who just start yelling nasty anti-Semitic epithets at him, right? So this is an interesting answer because I think it mirrors what I said yesterday. This is Fox and Friends, and now in asking about Democrats, but I think it's true of Republicans as well. Listen,
what happened to the Democrats? Why did they lose so many young men?
To be honest, it's the white guy, and this sounds, but was the bad guy, became the bad guy. And there's a lot of, white dudes who are like, well, I'm not the bad guy. Like, what are you getting mad at me for? I wasn't here for colonialism or any of the stuff that you guys are complaining about 200 years ago. Like, what did I do?
This is the point I made. I talked about this morning as well on Alan Stock. My point is these kids are sitting in these schools, and imagine you're a 14-year-old white boy in a high school, and your teachers got a full critical race theory curriculum where you are the problem. Everywhere you go, there's a gay pride flag, a trans flag. Every little group is represented, but you, F you. You're a miserable little piece of crap just by virtue of your skin color. Are you going to become resentful of these people? Hell yes, you are. Is your rebellion, if you are so inclined, and by the way, at the same time that these kids are being indoctrinated this way and talked down to and frankly ridiculed, they're also not being educated about much of anything else. They're not learning history. So are you going to rebel against the system by using racial epithets and screw everybody and being nihilistic? Of course. What's the solution? Because I always like to look at solutions. I think fixing education the number one way, and the easiest and quickest way would be to give us school choice. Make public schools compete for parents' dollars. Okay? Give that parent the right to walk away from a public school and have it be some financial punishment for the school. Now, the number one reason we have a problem with public schools in the country is because of a woman named Randi Weingarten. She is the head, basically the head grand poobah of the teachers' unions in the U.S., okay? And Randi Weingarten just yesterday had a Cornell conference where she called teachers, really she means the unions, she's not talking about you teachers, she's talking about herself and her organization, the foundation of democracy. And she all but admits that the role of public schools is to indoctrinate kids.
Teachers are the foundation stone of democracy. They create the habits of democracy. If you are in a classroom, first day of school, whether it's higher ed or pre-K 12, you got a whole bunch of people who don't know each other walking into a classroom, and what does a teacher do? They take that diverse classroom and try to make it inclusive in a way that people get to know each other, communicate with each other in a way that is the basis of pluralism and democracy.
Well, I mean, do you think she actually wants kids to learn the Constitution, to learn about our founding fathers, to learn about American exceptionalism? You think that's really what she wants to learn, or does she want to indoctrinate little leftists? Which is successful. She's successful in it, maybe 70%, 80% of the time. And certainly at least 10% of the time, the kids that are in those classrooms are deeply, profoundly resentful of what's being crammed down their throats. And some splinter off into, frankly, a gross radicalism. But I blame Randi Weingarten and her cadre of communist apparatchiks for this. There are few people in this country who disgust me more. Sam Mirejovsky here behind the What's Right microphone. Folks, be right back. Robbie, did you know that there was a McDonald's franchisees meeting in Washington last night? All across the country, franchise owners descend on Washington one time a year to meet with lawmakers. And the reason for this is pretty simple and straightforward. Politicians on both sides go to this thing because there really isn't a business or very many businesses that has a brick and mortar operation in literally every congressional district in the country. I mean, you got 50 to 100 people on payroll in each location, tax revenue, both local, state, federal, right? So this just is a meeting that's attended, and Trump went there. And my joke is Trump shows up at this as the only president who also can count himself as a former McDonald's employee. So he gets up there. He brings down the house. Trump is great. And he starts complaining about the tartar sauce for the fish and whatever it was. I'm just saying, we don't deserve him. And I don't even want to hear the criticism. I know that apparently Trump got into a problem with a reporter on Air Force One. Did you hear about this? He told, okay, I can't even necessarily hear what he said exactly. I'll play. Here's this. I'll play the clip. And then you tell me what you think Trump said. Because we have the clip, right, Robbie? Yeah. I thought we had it loaded. It's so, it's so good. To remind me what clip we have. Which one is it, Robbie? 11. Okay. All right. Here. Okay. There we go. I got it. Yeah. It's just too many things. Here we go.
Yeah, Jennifer, go ahead. Incriminating in the file, sir.
They're all yelling at him to answer a question. He's in the back part of the plane where the reporters are in the cheap seats. And he points to her. He goes, "Quiet, piggy." This is so terrible. Well, hey, he's on his way to meet Prince Mohammed bin Salman, okay? He's probably thinking in his back of his mind, Trump is, hey, at least I didn't cut you up with the bone saw, piggy. So, listen, like for everybody screaming, and I know the Republicans scream, this is just not presidential. These reporters are garbage. The kind of things they write about Trump and his family, what they write about his wife, they write about his kids. It is actually surprising that Trump even talks to these people. I would have nothing but contempt for them. That's just a reality. It's just a fact. So I don't know that this really deserves a lot of hand wringing. And I don't know if you heard piggy. I can't necessarily make it out, but it's a big thing now. And of course, we have the governor of California coming out with memes with Trump looking a little bit big and larger, and there some of them are enhanced a little bit in Photoshop. Trump does, in these pictures that are enhanced, look a little porcine, and he has "quiet piggy" in quotes above it. So I guess it just, again, Trump has birthed another meme. Now, I want to bring this up. This is a left-wing guy, and he is kind of a podcaster. He's controversial sometimes, but definitely left-winger, a comedian too. And he's on a podcast called Brilliant Idiots. Perfect. And he's got Charlemagne the God. Charlemagne the God is a black guy who's also a commentator, has a big streaming podcast, a big advocate for Kamala Harris. So this is Lib on Lib. And they are having a conversation about Charlie Kirk and the gunboats. You're probably wondering, what do the Venezuelan drug trafficking boats that are getting blasted out of the sky by the Department of War, what do they have in common with the assassination of Charlie Kirk? Well, great point and counterpoint and final point here.
It's just funny to me that, like, there are people that were happy Charlie Kirk got shot because they disagreed on opinions, and they're fighting for due process for people who are driving fentanyl into the country. Like, what the do we live in? Why do we have more humanity for people who are actually profiting off of killing Americans?
But you shouldn't be like those people.
What do I got to do?
Don't become what you hate.
Exactly. What do you mean?
You're Christian.
I hate people trying to kill Americans.
You hate people
trying to kill Americans. So if you're trying to kill Charlie Kirk, or if you're trying to bring fentanyl in here, I hate both of y'all.
There you go. There are some sane liberals. Charlemagne the God, who's got this huge following, just kind of looked at him like mouth agape. He had no idea what he was, what's going on. But I tell you, it's a great point. And it raises an important, but you have the left freaking out about illegal immigrant gangbangers getting picked up on the street and deported, but due process, Sam, due process. And then they're like, yeah, Charlie Kirk had it coming if only he hadn't been so obnoxious in his rhetoric. He was a racist, Sam. He was a racist. Low IQ thinking. That's what we have a problem with in this country. Yeah, and I said it. You think all that, you got a low IQ. Can't help you. All right. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. Well, we'll have another update on everything going on in here in Nevada tomorrow. Hang tight, folks. Keep the faith. And keep calling every senator, whether they are a current no or yes. Tell them all. Stand firm. Vote no on the film tax. Very important here. Imagine Nevada 5 to 7 years from now with an income tax because we voted in this stupid bill. I can. In fact, I can virtually guarantee that that's going to happen. Should this thing pass. Sam Mirejovsky here on the What's Right Media Network. Sam & Ash Injury Law, the only law firm to trust for your injury case. I'll see you tomorrow.